in track and field, the men's 1500, and the records. The collegiate record in 1987, the meet record, Sidney Marie in 1981. Kevin Sullivan, the best time this season, 3:36.62. He's out of the University of Michigan. The favorite, Seneca Lassister from Arkansas.
And no pressure on this young man. He did not qualify in the 800 meters. So that meant no points for him, no points for Arkansas. That also means big pressure for this race. He has got to score big and, if at all possible, win this 1500 meters.
And in the man that's expected to compete with him, Kevin Sullivan from Michigan.
Sullivan won this race all the way back in 1995 when he was a freshman, but had injury problems that kept him out of the Olympics in '96, and he was the runner-up to Seneca Lassister last year in Bloomington. This is his last go-round. His coach says he's in 3:51 mile shape, so it's just a matter of how he follows the race plan that he set out and what kind of racing Lassister does as well.
Obviously, those guys were from Michigan. They could stand out there with no shirts on, but take a look at this young man right here, the freshman from Stanford, Gabe Jennings. In the heats, ran a lifetime best 3:40.54. He holds a lot on his young shoulders. Stanford is in the race for the team title.
A look at the competitors. Seneca Lassister in lane number 4 from Arkansas. And also Gabe Jennings from Stanford and Kevin Sullivan from Michigan.
Also from Washington State, Bernhard Lagat, who doubled in the Pac-10 championships at 800 and 1500 meters. He was 4th in this race last year, but very, very dangerous. Can run it off a fast pace or off a slow pace.
The 1500 meters, better known as the metric mile, about 120 yards short of a full mile.
He also takes the early lead.
And a tightly bunched pack, obviously, at the beginning of the race. Everybody trying to jostle around, see where their competitors are, see where they need to be right now.
Claude Colanzo from Texas, El Paso, currently with the lead. He is running in the blue shorts and white singlet, followed by Brian Berryhill from Colorado State.
And Lassister and Sullivan well back in about 7th and 8th place at this point. Gabe Jennings there on the rail. Lagat out there on the outside of lane 1 as the pace is going reasonably well, even though the pack is tightly bunched. Not as badly as you sometimes see where there's problems of falling down. 59.3 is the first lap. A decent pace, an honest pace, but there's still a lot of bunching up as you see athletes all the way out in the outside of lane 2.
That's Jennings on the inside of Stanford.
It's Colanzo, Kinua, and Berryhill from Colorado State.
And the bunt, they're still tightly bunched right now. That's one thing that happens in the beginning of a 1500 meters. You know, in a type of weather like today, no one really wants to take it out. The wind is really blowing very hard. It's hard to see sometimes, but the wind is really fighting the athletes at this point. Everybody right now is still in the race.
Jesus Ortega has moved into 2nd place. It's Colanzo, Ortega, and Kinua. 1, 2, 3. Brian Berryhill is in 4th place. He's out of Colorado State. And now the pack's starting to stretch out a bit.
Now let's take a look at this race right now. And it looked like Kevin Sullivan went down for Michigan.
And he did.
And that's Seneca Lassister on the outside. He is up and he is still running, but he is about 10 yards off the pace. That might be the end of Kevin Sullivan.
Lagat also went down.
So as they get things back together, Lagat getting back into the pack. Gabe Jennings still about 7th or 8th in this particular point in the race. Sullivan well off of it. Can't imagine that he would get back into the race. Lassister now has moved up into 2nd.
Seneca Lassister in 2nd place. Kinua in 1st place. And here's a bell lap. The 1500 meters, one more to go. Kinua, Lassister, Jennings, 1, 2, 3.
Jennings is in 3rd for Stanford. This is big for the freshman as he's now making a challenge at Lassister, 3:06, and now the running really begins. Lassister, Jennings going with him. Jennings in a position to keep Stanford very close to Arkansas in the team battle.
Jennings running an outstanding race, running a very gutsy race. Lassister almost was in that fall with...
Around the final turn, it's Lassister in first, followed by Jennings and Berryhill. Berryhill trying to make a move. Lassister holding him off. Berryhill from the outside 50 meters to go. Lassister holding him off. It's Lassister, Berryhill. Lassister trying to hold on, and at the end it's Lassister holding on to beat Gabe Jennings by a nose.
Oh my God, and Lassister hits the track very, very hard. I'll tell you, Gabe Jennings ran an outstanding race for the freshman, for Stanford. He knew he had to be there if Stanford expected to be in the race, but you never expected him to push Seneca Lassister to the end. I mean, almost knock him out of the race. An incredible finish.
Well, that race had a little bit of everything. It was more like an auto race than it was like a foot race. Kevin Sullivan out of it at the 800-meter mark. And Gabe Jennings, the gutsy freshman from Stanford, knows the significance of his performance in this race. Lassister, as you said, Carol, having not made the final in the 800, tremendous pressure on this young man. Just a junior at Arkansas. And Kevin Sullivan, what a disappointing finish to his college career. Let's see if we can find out who caused the fall that took Kevin Sullivan out of this race. So coming up on the 800-meter race, here is Lagat from Washington State, and here is Kevin Sullivan of the University of Michigan. It's a tightly bunched pack going in the 800. Lassister just behind Sullivan. Sullivan we can see, but Lagat definitely goes down, but he did not cause the fall. He bounced right back up, but Sullivan took a couple of moments more to shake it off.
But the person who was in the best position was Seneca Lassister. He could have also been in that fall, but he stayed out of trouble. And right here, look how they have drifted away from the pole. Seneca Lassister obviously very tired, may not have seen Jennings on the outside, but he just ran out of space.
And Brian Berryhill from Colorado did much the same thing in the indoor nationals. He had led up at the tape, and Sullivan and Lassister passed him there. But there you can see Lassister in the red of Arkansas. Everything he's got is hanging out. Brian Berryhill actually looked very good at this point, but Gabe Jennings, look at how relaxed his face is. He's going, listen, I got 6 points now. How many more can I get? He moves out into lane 3. Lassister tying up badly. Jennings looking very good here. Berryhill fading. Now it's Lassister on the right, Jennings on the left. Jennings just left it a little too late. And then Lassister just goes down in front of Jennings. Could have gotten a spike to the head. Look at Jennings. If he would just lengthen those strides a little bit. Lassister running out of gas on the right. Jennings leaning for the tape as best as he can. And Coach Vin Lanana has got to be thrilled with the second place finish of his young freshman. What a great career he has ahead of him.
Lassister in first place. Huffman in fifth, 14 points for Arkansas. And Lassister and Jennings are standing by right now with our Michelle Tafoya.
All right, thank you very much. Seneca, you came across the line first. How aware were you of Gabe as you were finishing up that home stretch?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank God for another one of his blessings. And I had no idea what Gabe was. I was just trying to pump my arms as fast as I could coming down the stretch, and hopefully I can hang on for the win, which I did. And he was coming up. Gabe was a heck of a freshman doing a great job down at Stanford, so I was happy for him as well.
Gabe, you said you made 2 moves in the final lap of this race. Talk about those.
Well, Coach actually told me to go with 600 to go, and I think I should have, but I just didn't have the confidence coming in as a freshman to take the lead into the wind like that. So I made my first move with 300 to go, and then Lagat took it, and then Seneca followed. I was like, I'm going to follow these 2 big boys, try to outkick him in the last 50, but he's a hell of a sprinter, and he got me in a great race.
This was a great race, and maybe the most pivotal race of this final day, Seneca. For you, so much riding on this for the Arkansas team in general, and you not making the final of the 800 meters. What was weighing on your mind as you ran this race?
Well, I know we were down, behind Stanford, and we had a meeting earlier yesterday, and Coach was just like, you guys got to go out there, do the best job you can, and get all the points that you can, because we need it for this championship. So I was trying to get the 10 points for the team, so I ended up doing it, so I'm happy.
Tremendous finish. Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you very much.
Seneca Lassister, Gabe Jennings, 2 of the best young milers in the United States, and they gave the fans here in Buffalo their money's worth. So the final standings From the 1500, Seneca Lassister, a 3:42.34, followed by Jennings, and Brian Berryhill from Colorado State. Great race for him. He comes in third.